we'll see what are the different techniques that are used in reducing the block diagrams. Okay, so in my previous video you have seen how to write the block diagram for a given electrical network. Now in this video we'll see what are the different block diagram reduction techniques that are available to reduce any given block diagram. Okay, so the first rule is the associative law. Now what is that associative law? Now think we have two different summing points in any block diagram. Think we have two different summing points with different inputs. Now think this summing point as R1, this summing point as R2, and then we have a summing point R3 here, and a summing point, the output whatever we get would be what? So here the output at this point would be this. If this both are plus, then I'll say R1 plus R2. So this would be R1 plus R2. Now if I say this is plus, then the output at this summing point would be R1 plus R2 plus R3. Now the associative law says if you interchange the summing point position, the expression still should remain same. So therefore I will try to put R3 this side. I'll say R3 this side, and I'll say this is R3, and I'll say this is R1, and then this plus plus. So the output which I get would be R1 plus R3 now. Then I'll put another summing point here where the input would be R2. Now you see the output remains to be R1 plus R2 plus R3. So this is the shifting of summing point will not vary the result of the second summing point output. Okay, so we can shift the summing point in this way. We can shift it so that the final result will still remain same. Okay, the final result still remains same. Now what will you do if there is a block in between the summing points? Can we still do the same thing? So let me do that. So I have R1 here, I have R2 here, and think I have a block G, gain of G, and then I'll say R3 here. And what would be the output? Now output is not same like earlier. Now this is R1 plus R2 coming out here, and that is getting multiplied by G. So that would be the input comes here. So the output would be R1 plus R2 into G plus R3. Now if I do the same thing, shifting the summing points like this, whatever I did earlier, so R1 and R3, and then I'll say block here, and then I'll say a summing point with R2. Now the output of this summing point will now be here, this is R1 plus R3 into G. These both are plus actually, even here this is plus plus. So this is plus plus, therefore I will get R1 plus R3 into G plus R2. So is both are same? No, they are not equal. So you cannot shift the summing points, or you cannot interchange the summing points when there is a block between two different summing points. Okay, you cannot interchange the summing points when you have a block between any two summing points, because here it is R1 plus, so if I expand this I get G into R1 plus G into R2 plus R3, whereas here you get G into R1 plus G into R3 plus plus R2. So therefore here G is multiplied with R3 and R2 is not multiplied with G, whereas here R2 is multiplied with G, whereas R3 is not multiplied. Therefore this is not equal to this. Okay, so therefore you cannot interchange the summing point when you have a block between the summing point, but you can interchange the summing point when there is no block between the summing points. Now let us go to the rule 2. So the second rule, rule 2, what do we do when blocks are in series? When you have blocks in series. What do we do when we have a blocks are in series? Now you will have an input R1 and you will have G1 and G2 and G3. There are 3 blocks which are in series and you take output Y. So here I can multiply these 3 blocks all together. That is what series is all about. So I can multiply G1, G2 and G3. Okay. So individually if I say here it is R1 into G1, then when it comes here it is R1 into G1 into G2, and when it comes here it is R1 into G1 into G2 into G3. So what is Y? Y exactly equal to R1 into G1 into G2 into G3. So even you get the same expression here, even here also you get the same expression. So when you have blocks in series, you just multiply those blocks values. Okay. So that is what we normally do. If I have a takeaway point in between the blocks, that is what here, when blocks are in series, now assume that you have G1, you have G2, and then you have a takeaway point from here, and then you have G3. Now this is R1, this is Y. Now you cannot say G1 into G2 into G3 because there is a takeaway point which is coming out of between G2 and G3. So now you cannot write G1, G2, G3. This block can be written as R1, G1 into G2 because they both lie in series, G1 into G2, and G3 is the third block, whereas takeaway point will come out like this. So this is what we do. Now if you have any takeaway point in between the blocks, you cannot just multiply it. Okay. So if there is no any takeaway points, even the summing points if you have, not only takeaway, if you have a summing point between any 2 blocks, you cannot say all 3 blocks are in series. Now you don't have a takeaway point, you don't have a summing point, then you can easily multiply all 3. You can easily multiply any number of blocks which are in series if you don't have any takeaway or any summing points in between those blocks. Okay. Now let us go to the next rule. Rule number 3. Rule 3 says, what do we do when the blocks are in parallel? Rule 3 is blocks for parallel. Blocks in parallel. Blocks in parallel. So what do we do when blocks are in parallel? Okay, so let me write the diagram. So here G1. So how do we say the blocks are in parallel? So you should look into this diagram carefully, because feedback path looks to be same like how we write the parallel combination. So parallel will all meet to the same summing point. That is what parallel is. Okay, all the path will meet the same summing point. So think we have this is plus, and this is minus. Now all 3 are connected here, and therefore this would be RS, and the output of this summing point would be C of S if I take. Now what we will do when they are in parallel? You do the summation of all 3 blocks. That is what we do when blocks are in parallel. Therefore I'll say it is G2, G3 is considered to be positive, G1 is considered to be negative. Therefore I'll say G2 plus G3 minus G1. So we do summation of the blocks when the blocks are connected in parallel, and we see the sign of that particular summing point. Based on that we take the sign for each blocks. Okay, so when we have a blocks in parallel, we try to do this particular knowledge. Now what would be C of S? C of S would be R of S multiplied by G2 plus G3 minus G1. So this is the parallel connection. Your job is to see that all the path of that particular block will meet the same summing point. Okay, then only you can say that the those blocks are in parallel. Those blocks are in parallel. You can see 2 blocks coming in parallel, 3 blocks coming in parallel, and so on. So based on the sign that is being connected to the summing point, take that sign and put that sign to the block contents, and then you either add it or subtract it. So in series you multiply, in parallel you do the summation. Okay, let us go with rule 4. So let us go with rule 4. So what is rule 4? So in rule 4 we'll say shifting a summing point behind the block. Shifting a summing point behind the block. Now think we will have a block G where you have R1, R of S here, and this is connected to a summing point where you will have another variable Y here, and this would be the output C of S. Now if I say what is C of S, C of S is nothing but equal to, now this is what, R of S into G, R of S into G added with Y plus Y. Now this summing point in this diagram is after the block G, right? Now what happens if I push this summing point beyond the block, and I should still see through that the expression is same. So what should we do when we push the summing point beyond the block, and the expression should be same? So what should we do? So let us see that now. So what is that diagram looks like? So I'll have a summing point, and then a block will be now behind the block is what summing point should be there. Now I'm going to take C of S here. Now I will have R of S here, then I will have Y here. Now what is the expression here? So R of S plus Y multiplied by the gain G will be equal to C of S. Now therefore C of S would be equal to R of S into G plus YG. Now there is a problem here. See, this Y is getting multiplied by G, but here Y should not be multiplied by G, only R of S should be multiplied by G. So what should we do? Now you try to work out in some way where this G gets cancelled. How to cancel the G? Now if I multiply this YG with 1 over G, then I hope GG gets cancelled, right? So for that what I can do is, I'll take this Y, instead of giving direct Y, I will add here one more block where I'll make that as 1 over G, and then I'll give Y to this block. So now if we write the expression, what happens? R of S added with Y into 1 over G. See here, Y is coming to 1 over G and getting multiplied, and that is getting added with R of S, and this gets multiplied with G will be equal to C of S. Therefore C of S would be equal to R of S into G plus Y into 1 over G into G. So therefore I get only Y. So now the concept is clear. So therefore if you shift the summing point in the block diagram, if you shift the summing point anywhere behind the block, you see through that the output C of S remains to be same. Okay, the output remains to be same, and you are going to multiply those blocks with this reciprocal of the gain wherever the cancellation is necessary. Fine. So this is what we do when we shift the summing point behind the block. Now what we do, we will try to go for rule 5. We'll go with next rule, rule 5. Okay, now rule 5 is shifting a summing point beyond the block, summing point beyond the block means it is after the block, beyond the block, shifting the summing point beyond the block. So what we will do, so initially what we will have, initially we will have a summing point and then G and then Y. Here we will have R, here we will have Y, which is plus. So this expression is what? Y equals R plus, sorry, not Y, it is C of S. Let me say it is C. Now what is C equals? C is equal to R plus Y into G, which is Rg plus Yg. Now I am going to shift the summing point after the block or beyond the block. So what will happen? So I will have G here and R is given to G now. Then I will be giving this output to a summing point where I will have Y is given here and C is taken from me. Now this is the diagram. So when I shift the block after the summing point, after the block, if I shift the summing point, then what will I get if I don't do anything and keep as it is? So I will get R into G plus Y. Now I should see through that Y should be multiplied by G, then the expression will be same. So earlier you divided by G for Y. Now what we will do, we will multiply Y by G. That's it. Very simple. So we will multiply Y with G. Now you see the expression C is what? R into G plus Y into G. So this is plus. So when you shift a summing point after the block or beyond the block, we see through that the gain gets multiplied with the parameter wherever it is necessary. So here Y got multiplied by G to get the same expression what we had. Earlier Y was divided by G, now it is Y is getting multiplied by G. So therefore this is what rule 5 is all about. Let us go to the rule 6. Now we'll play with the takeaway point. Let me take with rule 6. So in rule 6 we'll play with the takeaway point. So I'll write shifting a takeoff point behind the block. So you will have two different things in a block diagram. One is summing point, the other one is the takeaway point. Okay, you can have takeaway or summing point in any block diagrams. Okay, so what we will do now? Now we will have a block. We will have a block G where R is the input. Now this is C and this is Y, which is takeaway point. Okay, so now what is Y equals? Y should be equal to R into G. Okay, C is also equal to R into G. Now takeaway point is something where the feedback is taken. So at this point the output is what? R into G. Both C and Y will be R into G. Now when I shift this takeaway point behind the block, okay, sorry, behind the block I should write. When I shift this takeaway point behind the block, what will happen? That is what the major concern here. So I'll take takeaway point here and I'll put block G here and Y will come out here now. R, Y, and this is C. Now what is Y? Y will be now equal to R, if you see here, because R is coming out here. At this point it will be R only. So Y will be equal to R. Now what should I do so that I need Y equals R into G if I shift the takeaway point? So therefore what I'll do is I will try to make this Y to get multiplied by G. So I think now the point is clear. So here at this point R is coming and that is getting multiplied by G, therefore Y is equal to R into G. At this point R is coming, so R is getting multiplied by G, therefore C is also equal to R into G. So this is equal to this. Okay. Now the reason of shifting these points, either summing point or takeaway point, to make one of the block to be freely available, so that you can apply some other technique or some other reduction techniques can be applied for this G. Now here G is bound with R and Y. Okay. In this case the gain G was bound with R and Y. But if you take this diagram, this G is now free. Now it is not bound with either R and Y. Therefore, if I apply any other techniques for this G to find out the transfer function, anyway there will be some more diagrams connected to this point in the actual block diagram. So this G is now freely available, so that you can apply any other techniques, so that you can easily find out the reduced block diagram at the end, so that you can find out the transfer function. So all these 9 rules which we learned today is individually applied and need not to be applied all. Okay, there is no any block diagrams where you might apply all rules here. Okay, out of 9 rules you apply 1 or 2 rules in the each block diagram, so that the reduction will happen. Okay, so we do have 9 different rules here, so that we learn all 9 rules, so that wherever the rules, whichever the rule that you are learning here, you apply wherever out of 9 rule, whichever is necessary, you apply those rules for that particular block diagram to reduce it in the simplest way. Okay, so now I'll go with rule 6 is over. Now go with rule 7. So similarly you did behind the, you shifted the takeaway point behind the block. In rule 7 we'll see beyond the block, shifting takeoff point beyond the block. We'll see how to shift the takeoff point beyond the block. So I'll have R, I'll have Y here, and then I'll have a G here, and this is C. Now C is what? C is equal to R into G, Y is equal to R. This is what I need to have. Now if I shift this takeoff point beyond the block or after the block, what will I get? So I'll give R directly to G. Now I'm going to have C here. Now I'm going to shift takeaway point here. I'm going to take Y from here. So this is R. Now C is equal to RG. No problem with C. But Y is now becoming RG. Now I need R, not RG. Here I need R. So therefore it's very simple. We'll try to divide Y by G. So I'll take 1 by G here and then Y. Okay. Now you see C is equal to RG still, but R into G coming here, getting multiplied by 1 over G, and Y will now become R. Okay. So therefore this is equal to this. Again you see this G is now freely available. Okay, so you have equally given G to R and 1 over G to Y. Therefore this is freely available now. Now the G is not completely bound with R and Y. Therefore you can use some other technique and find out the reduction wherever it is necessary. Okay, now let us go with rule 8. So rule 8, what is that? Rule 8 is removing a minor feedback loop. Now rule 8 is very, very important. So here rule 8 is the one which is normally we go with applying at the end of the block diagram reduction in most of the problems. You get one single block at the end after applying so many reduction techniques. At the end you get one single block where you see one single feedback path that will be available in the diagram. Now how does it look here? So there is a derivation for this. I will also do that derivation now. So I will say this is R of S coming to a summing point where you have G and this is C, and you have feedback path will be available which is H, and this is given to feedback. So this would be the final feedback path or loop that you get in many block diagram. After reducing step by step, at the end you get this block. Okay, now think this would be plus or minus. Okay, this can be plus or this can be minus. So what do we do when we get plus or minus? Okay, so here I'll just assume the feedback what we are giving is B of S, whereas the error what we get here is E of S. Now when I give feedback, I hope in the open loop and closed loop system, when I was explaining you, the feedback is given, the feedback will be given when to find out an error, right? So that is what the closed loop system is all about. So this can be also called as the this derivation whatever I am doing. What do you do when we get such feedback loop in the block diagram? So this can also be called as the transfer function for a closed loop control system. Okay, transfer function for a closed loop. So CLCS is what? Closed loop control system. So this derivation whatever I am doing can also be a transfer function for closed loop control system. So in block diagram reduction, this is the final block that you get. What would be the final transfer function that you write when you get this block at the end? So therefore here, now what is E of S here is, so let me say what is E of S. At this point, what is E of S? E of S is R of S plus or minus B of S. Okay, E of S is R of S plus or minus B of S. Right? Here R of S plus or minus, this is B of S. So that is E of S. Now what exactly B of S is? B of S is, at this point you have C, right? At this point we have C, and that is getting multiplied by H. Therefore I can say B of S is equal to C into H. Okay, C into H. Therefore C of S is what? C of S would be equal to, so I'll just write instead of C and H, I'll just say in terms of S. So it is C of S into H of S. Now what is C of S here? This is H of S, this is G of S. What is C of S? It is E of S into G of S. See, C of S is what? E of S into G of S. Now B of S would be equal to, as it is C of S into H of S. So anyway, we have already written that, so let me not write it again. So now E of S equals R of S plus or minus B of S is what? C of S into H of S. C of S into H of S. Now E of S equals C of S by G of S, where in this equation. So let me take 1, let me take 2, 3. Now I am doing what? This is what? Put 2 in 1 and I get this equation. I get 4. Then from 2, not from 2, from 3 we get equation 5. What is the next step? What would be the next step? So C of S by G of S would be equal to, now 4 and 5 are equal, right? 4 and 5 are equal because both are E of S. Therefore I can say C of S by G of S equals R of S plus or minus C of S into H of S. R of S plus or minus C of S into H of S. Therefore C of S would be equal to, R of S into G of S plus or minus G of S, C of S, H of S. Therefore C of S minus and plus, this plus and minus, if it comes to the left hand side it becomes minus and plus, G of S, C of S, h of s equals r of s into g of s. Therefore, if I take c of s common here, I'll get 1 minus plus g of s into h of s. Therefore, which is equal to r of s into g of s. Finally, c of s by r of s is the transfer function, right? Output is c of s, r of s is input in the block diagram, right? Therefore, this would be the transfer function, which is equal to g of s by 1 minus plus g of s into h of s. So this is the final transfer function that we write when we get such feedback path at the end of the block diagram reduction after reducing the complete block diagram. Okay, so this is what you substitute g of s value to g of s, substitute g of s into h of s, and then see what transfer function that you get at the end. Now here there is two more points which I need to say here. Now think you have a diagram like this, r of s, okay, and we have a feedback h of s, and you have g of s, and we have c of s. So for this, if I have minus and if I have plus here, this will have a transfer function. C of s by r of s would be equal to g of s by 1 plus, it becomes plus. Now if I have feedback negative, here in formula it becomes positive, 1 plus g of s into h of s. Very important point which I am telling you. So if the feedback is negative, then it becomes positive in the equation. Now if the feedback is positive here, for example, if you have a positive feedback, then this becomes negative feedback. This becomes negative feedback. In the equation it becomes negative. Okay. So this is how we try to write the transfer function. So I have done the derivation for that, but we will try to write this equation for that particular block diagram. So if you get a block diagram like this, in any case, we will try to write this equation directly for finding out the final transfer function. Okay. So I hope this is clear to you. So this is also called as transfer function for a closed loop control system. They might ask you the derivation for the transfer function of the closed loop control system. So you can also use this derivation for writing the answer to that particular question. I think you are clear with all the 8 rules. Now we'll go with the next rule, which is rule 9. So what is rule 9? So in rule 9, think we have a system and think we have many inputs for a system like this, where R1, R2 till Rn, and you have one output to the system. So how do we find out the transfer function for such case, where you have many inputs in the block diagram, whereas one single output you take? So what we do is, we will try to take any one input and one output. So what do we do is, we'll take R1, we'll take C as an output, and then we try to find out the transfer function C by R1, where we make all other R2, R3 till Rn to be equal to 0. We will make all other inputs 0 and we'll consider only one input R1, and we take the transfer function C by R1. Similarly, the next time what I do, I'll take R2 to be the input, I'll take output to be C, and then I'll take transfer function C by R2, where I'll make R1, R3 till Rn to be equal to 0. So this is how you find out the transfer function when you have many inputs and one output in the system, for multiple input system. So you take any one input, make all other inputs 0, and then you take the transfer function of that particular system where you have one output. Okay. Now if you have two inputs and two outputs, what we will do? If you have two inputs and two outputs, think we have two inputs R1, R2, and we have two outputs C1, C2 for any system. So in this case, you will try to find out R1, C1, R1, C2. You take R1, take the output C1. You take R1, take the output C2. Then you will take another transfer function R2, C1, R2, C1, R2, C2. So you get 4 transfer functions if you have multiple input and multiple output. Now here I have 2 cross 2, so therefore you get 4 different transfer functions. Now if I have more than 2 inputs, so you need more than 2 outputs, you should see through that every input should be considered with every output and take the transfer function for individual combinations. Okay, so I hope with this 9 different block diagram reduction techniques which I have explained to you, you are clear watching this video, you are clear with the reduction techniques that we apply for block diagram reduction in control systems. Thank you.